You need to be confident now, not tomorrow, not next week or when 2025 starts, like right now. Every moment that goes by where you are not stepping into your most confident self, you are letting opportunities, people, experiences, and basically all the awesomeness that life has to offer bring you, pass you by. I think that it's time you stop letting all the awesomeness of life pass you by. It's time for you to stop being the bystander of your life and for you to start being the main character. And how do you do that? You do that by building unbreakable, unshakable confidence. I'm Dr. Basleen, and I have helped hundreds of people break through their limiting beliefs and step into their next level of success, which for a lot of people also looks like stepping into their next level of confidence. And you know what? It's time for you to now do the same. In this video, I'm going to break down the top 3 limiting beliefs that are holding you back from your most confident self. These limiting beliefs almost show up as you literally waiting for that next level of confidence, hoping that a switch will eventually get turned on within you that is going to help you realize your true potential and what you're capable of. Unfortunately, these deeply ingrained beliefs act as a wall of resistance and they prevent you from truly stepping into that next level. I have felt this wall of resistance for so much of my life, and I can't wait to share some of my stories to help you see how real it is, but also how possible it is for you to overcome it. Real quick, if you don't know what limiting beliefs are, they're essentially your beliefs of yourself and the world around you. These beliefs form at a very young age, and they basically end up determining the entire trajectory of your life if you are not aware of them. Being stuck in these limiting beliefs looks like you starting to achieve success or strive towards it, and then something comes up in your life, and instead of you pushing forward, you find yourself back in the same spot over again. And you know what? The cycle then continues. You can't build unbreakable confidence and truly step into your potential until you don't actually change the way that you see yourself and the world around you, because you will ultimately end up keep pulling yourself back down to the level of worth that you truly believe you deserve to be at, aka your limiting belief. This is why you have failed to achieve sustainable confidence in your life. And with that being said, let's go through the limiting beliefs. The most common limiting belief that holds people back from unbreakable confidence is, I am not good enough. I should honestly write an entire book about this limiting belief and how to overcome it, because this is my core limiting belief. So when I say core limiting belief, I am referring to the fact that each one of us has a core limiting belief. And it's through this core limiting belief that all these other beliefs stem from. A lot of my coaching clients and patients that I work with also struggle with this belief. So, how does this belief show up and how does it stop you from being your most confident self? When you subconsciously believe that you are not good enough, you will constantly do things in your life that bring you back to that feeling of not good enough over and over and over again. One of the ways that this can show up is by over preparing. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a certain level of preparing that is awesome and it actually helps you build more confidence. But there's a whole other side of that that can actually become very obsessive and unnecessary. I remember when I was in university, I would literally go through my study material 3 times before an exam in order to feel fully prepared. And sometimes I would notice myself even just like rushing through that first and second time just so mentally I could get through the stuff 3 times and have the reassurance that I just did that. It just became this obsessive thing that I needed to do. And it didn't even come from a place of me wanting to do the best. It came from a place of lack and me literally feeling like I wasn't good enough. When you embody confidence, you don't act from a place of lack. You act from a place of feeling whole, of feeling good enough about yourself. And sometimes that can mean preparing for things 3 times, or sometimes it's just going through everything slowly and properly just once. Because when you build that confidence within yourself, you're able to trust yourself more instead of relying on something like needing to go through the study material 3 times in order to truly feel like you're good enough. And what's funny is that this didn't always equate to my success. There were definitely some exams I did very poorly on, even though I went through the study material 3 times. Because more than going through the material 3 times, it was about actually trying to understand the work that I was doing. And when I did that, the marks reflected that, which is like obvious in hindsight, but I just hadn't done the work at that point to truly, truly understand this connection. Seeking external validation is another way that this not good enough belief shows up, and it completely destroys your confidence. When you're just like this hungry little birdie constantly seeking external validation, you are essentially leaving your confidence, worth, and value in the hands of other people. And you're basically saying, please, 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 please tell me how good I am, okay? This has been literally me for the majority of my life. And the biggest area I noticed growing up was, with my parents, this is how often these start, right? I was so hungry to feel good enough, especially with them. Not that they did anything to make me feel not good enough, okay? But I was just craving that validation. And I remember, in middle school, I would go sit on the bus every single day and I would mentally think about all the awesome things I did during the school day that I could tell them I did at school so I could get that validation. This was honestly a huge, 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 huge thing that was holding me back from being truly confident. And when I learned to switch this narrative around in my mind and really start to give myself the validation that I was seeking from others, literally everything in my life started to shift and change, especially my confidence. And lastly, this belief can also show up as over investing in needing to learn more and more without actually applying any of the information that you're learning. When I first started my business, I would mindlessly pay for coaching programs. I would buy books and invest all this money. And really, the excuse I would use is that I was using it for my knowledge. But I wouldn't take the time to properly and actually apply the information that I was learning, which, again, I know it just sounds so obvious, but how many times have you invested in things without actually applying the information? I'm sure it's been a lot more than you can count. This is such a clear lack of confidence, and because again, you feel like you need something outside of you in order to make you feel whole, you need to look outside of you to get that hit of confidence, which is basically that hit of feeling like I am good enough. So start tuning into the intention behind your actions, and all of these underlying beliefs and reasons are going to reveal themselves to you. You will never look at your life the same way. Also, if you want to break out of these beliefs, I've actually created a 10-minute breakthrough meditation for you. It's extremely powerful to help you break through your beliefs and limits that have been holding you back. So don't forget to use it. The link is in the bio of this video. The next limiting belief that shows up very often is a fear of failure. And a common way that this belief shows up is through procrastination. When we have a limiting belief, we do action steps that actually keep us more stuck in the belief itself. So that really forms that story. And that's how these sneaky little suckers get you. So when you procrastinate, aka delaying the action, you sometimes end up feeling more like a failure because you need to rush through things, or maybe you don't get them done on time at all. I also find that there's a sense of perfectionism that is part of the procrastination piece, where you feel like you need to wait until everything is perfect in order to take action and move forward. I still have to catch myself with the whole procrastination piece of things, and it's still very much a work in progress. Especially when it comes to work, I can totally leave things to the last minute, and then I am left with this feeling of failure because either, I don't get everything that I need to get done, or the quality of my work, unfortunately, isn't as good as I really want it to be, which is super annoying. And what ends up happening is that when you procrastinate, you're destroying your confidence, because confidence, it comes from doing. Okay, confidence comes from doing. For example, I started my own YouTube channel months and months after I was thinking about doing it. And now I look back and I wish I had started much sooner, because the best way for me to learn about YouTube was to actually do it. The more that I started to do it, the more traction I started to gain. And you are essentially simply delaying your success and ultimately confidence by not taking action now. Similar to this, that falls perfectly into the limiting belief of the fear of failure, is staying in your comfort zone. When we're scared of failure, we actually avoid taking risks as much as possible, which leads us to stay in what makes us feel the most comfortable. When I look back at my past, I can clearly see that my confidence was built every time I decided to take risks that pushed me outside of my comfort zone. It's when I sent that email to a new prospect. It's when I made that social media post. It's when I put myself out there in my community that my confidence actually built. You are sleeping on your confidence by staying in your comfort zone. If you want to build unbreakable confidence, go do something bold, go do something brave, and take that action step that you have always been wanting to take in your life, but you don't end up doing. This is what is going to help you to build your confidence and break out of these limiting beliefs. The last limiting belief that holds you back from your most confident self is feeling like you are undeserving of success and or happiness. This is such a sad one, but a lot of us struggle with this. I've had this belief show up in different forms and ways in my life, and a common way that this shows up is through negative self-talk, which is just like a major destroyer of self-confidence. Negative self-talk is ultimately you putting yourself down. And you know what it shows up? It shows up when you feel really good. A lot of us don't realize this, but we end up sabotaging our success and happiness because we don't truly feel like we are deserving of it. So, what ends up happening is that when we feel good, that negative self talk comes on 10 times harder, and it just automatically pulls us back into a negative state of mind instead of allowing us to feel good in that moment. I noticed for myself every time I would achieve success, I wouldn't let myself feel good about it. I would just move on to the next thing, or I would find myself focusing on how this success wasn't good enough and the pieces that were missing in order for me to actually feel good about myself, right? So focusing on that lack. Overcompensating is another way that this can show up. When we feel like we are undeserving of success or happiness, we will constantly try to go above and beyond and to prove ourselves. Other way that I like to think of it is people pleasing, right? Like, do you do too much for the people around you? And do you find yourself like barely getting anything back in return? People pleasing often comes from a deep place of unworthiness and feeling like we are not deserving of love. So what do? We overcompensate. We overcompensate by going above and beyond and feeling like we need to prove ourselves in order to be deserving of it. So start taking note of the action steps that you take on a daily basis and ask yourself if the underlying intention of these action steps is based on the need to prove yourself to the people around you. So there you have it. These are the 3 most common limiting beliefs that prevent you from being confident. They are, I'm not good enough, fear of failure, and feeling like you are undeserving. It's so important for you to uncover these beliefs for yourself because you can have all the strategies you want to build your confidence. If you don't address these limiting beliefs, you will always pull yourself back down to them, and you'll never actually be able to sustain your confidence long term. When you actually address these limiting beliefs and actually help yourself from the core, from the root cause, these strategies work so much better. And if you're someone who's ready to crush these limiting beliefs and actually step into your true potential, I would encourage you book a complimentary 30-minute breakthrough session with me and let's chat about it because your next level of success is waiting for you.